The 2021 May Virtual Southern Conference. Fitness in Tennis, Michele Krause.
It is my pleasure to introduce Michele Krause, who's the founder of Intensity Fitness, which takes cardio tennis up a notch. She was the Cardio Tennis Global Education Director for 15 years and is presented worldwide. She's a USPTA and PTR Pro and has managed clubs throughout the US and holds numerous additional fitness certifications. She was awarded the 2012 TIA Industry Excellence Award, as well as the 2018 Industry Service Award. And she was recognized as the USPTA Florida Pro of the Year in 2018. I give you Michele.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Kevin, for the introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to the Southern Group. This evening, I have my good friend and great colleague, Bill Riddle, with me. Bill, you want to say hi to the group?
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here with Michele and looking forward to tonight.
So we'd like to start off the evening and welcome everybody. We're doing a little bit of a pivot from the original topic that was put into the agenda, although it's not a big pivot, and we do have a big announcement to make, which I'm really excited and honored to share with this group this evening, because you guys are knowing about it before anybody else. The USTA has hired me to lead cardio tennis going forward. So that is very exciting news for me. I'm very, very pleased with this, and we will keep you posted as this moves forward, and the press release will go out tomorrow. So Bill, what do you think of that news?
Well, I'm very excited. I know there's a lot of people across the country that are very excited that you're going to be back and leading the charge for cardio tennis, and I'm ready for some of those night sessions and early morning sessions with the team again. So can't wait to get started.
Yeah. Yes, early morning workouts. Yeah,
early morning workouts.
So this evening, we're pivoting a little bit, and Bill was kind enough to join me, and we're going to have a little bit of fun. It's going to be a lot of just heart-to-heart talking with you, all of you, our friends, our colleagues, and our fellow coaches. And we're really kind of focusing on coach fitness. So like the fitness of the coach and what those keys to success are and what the impact is. But what I'd like to do, and maybe Pat's going to help us out here a little bit, is I'm gonna ask the group a few questions, and I want you to think about it. You can start putting the answers in the chat box as we move along through the evening, and we'll come back at the end and we'll address these questions. So one question is, do you all currently offer some form of cardio tennis programming? And if so, how healthy is it? Okay, now notice I'm referring to your cardio tennis programming as healthy. Healthy means how many times are you offering it a week? How much money are you making? Are your classes full? Are you able to deliver the very best experience for people? The second question I'd like you to give some consideration to is what type of support would help make your cardio tennis even healthier? So again, feel free to put those answers in the chat and think about it as we move along through this presentation. So Bill and I came up with about 4 general topics that we'd like to give some attention to. We'll see if timing wise, we actually get to the 4. But our first one, we really want to talk about how to be your best fit coach. And I'm going to let Bill, he's going to start with some Q&A here.
Well, we've got several kind of areas and paths we're going to go down as it relates to fitness and coaches, and then also how that relates to your players. But you know, one of the things that Michele and I were talking about is our own personal fitness. And so one of the questions I think that I want to know, and I think others would want to know, is, you know, Michele, what is it you're doing yourself to stay fit as a coach?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Bill. And I think people might have different concepts, right, of how they think I might attain my fitness. I've had people make reference to, well, what do you eat? Salad, lettuce? No, that would be a nice myth that we're gonna partly we're gonna debunk in a little bit. But my fitness and my healthy lifestyle is pretty simplistic, and it doesn't have to be complicated. The important things are sleep. Sleep is probably one of the most important things in my life, because that is how your mind and your body recover. And as coaches, we put out collectively so much energy every single day on that tennis court that sleep really needs to be our number one priority. Healthy, clean eating.
Right.
I'm not a fan of the word diet. There really is no such thing as a diet. And the simple thing is to follow the 80-20 rule. I pretty much eat a lot of food. I love eating. Okay. And another reason why I can eat a lot of food is because I'm always training at high intensities. I actually probably don't eat as much salads, fruits, and vegetables as one might think that I would. I eat a ton of meat, all types of meat, all fish. The key is I eat everything, okay? And that gives you variety and gives you the nutrients that you need. I do not take any supplements. I'm not saying that supplements are bad and that you shouldn't take supplements. I personally don't, because I feel I get my nutrition through my food. Water. Again, as tennis coaches, we're losing it constantly, and it needs to be water. Sometimes I'll hear some of our friends say, yeah, I'm still drinking 4 Cokes a day. That's going to be a big problem. So water, tea, and I am a big espresso freak. So those are my things. And I don't drink alcohol. I'm not against alcohol. It just doesn't do anything for me. My alcohol consumption might be 1 beer a month, maybe. So I really only want to put things in my body that are going to help me. Working out wise, probably I walk maybe 1 mile to 1.5 miles every single day. Obviously, I play tennis because tennis is the greatest fitness activity on the face of the planet. And then one also must have their strength and power and conditioning in the gym or at home by lifting something, whether it's your own body weight or its weight. So, Bill, that's kind of my process. What do you think?
Well, I'm having been to lunch and places with you. I can attest you are a good eater, and so
Yes.
and you do put good things into your body. So I can attest to that. But Michele, there's some myths out there. And you touched on one of them just a moment ago about you walk 1 mile. Talk to us a little bit about maybe kind of debunking some of the fitness myths that we hear about or see. One of them being like steps and say like your heart rate and where that
Right.
fit in.
So we're going to do a little kind of one thing versus the other,
Okay.
and steps versus heart rate. Anytime anyone is moving, that is great. But, and again, in this little game here, Bill, I'll pick one or the other.
Okay.
So I'm going to pick heart rate. Okay. And reason why is people can get very excited about their steps, and nothing wrong with that. But steps gives you absolutely zero indicator of intensity. All right. So in steps, and walking is great, and walking is a great active recovery tool. But if you're just walking and you're not doing anything else and you're not changing, you can walk 3 miles every day. But guess what? Your fitness is going to plateau. So heart rate training and elevating your heart rate up into zones 3, 4, and 5 is what helps to maintain fitness, improve fitness, and increase endurance and performance. So heart rate wins.
So then real quick, just those, most everybody has got a smart watch or some kind of wearable on, and they're tracking their steps, and they say get 10,000 a day. That's not necessarily as good as we may think, is what you're saying, right?
Right. And again, it's good. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to go to another level, okay, like if you want to notch up your fitness, you're going to need to go extra, okay? And that's elevating the heart rate. Now we're tennis coaches, so out on the tennis court, most of us are getting 10,000 steps pretty
Right.
easily in a day's work. And depending on how much hitting we're doing in our lessons, which we should be doing a lot, then
Right.
we're elevating the heart rate. Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's do this. Pick water versus electrolytes, because Gatorade and sports drinks are so popular, and I hear it all the time. Well, I just can't drink water because there's no taste to it.
Yeah. So I'm going to pick water, but again,
Okay.
let me retract. They're both great.
Right.
Okay. And I do want to make a disclaimer here. Bill and I are not physicians, doctors, nor are we nutritionists. So this is just Bill and I talking to you heart to heart, with a good amount of experience and educating ourselves. I just say water. I think where we go to our electrolyte drinks is we go to them when we shouldn't be using them. All right. So there's a time and a purpose. So for example, I live in Florida, and I will pretty much go the whole winter season on just water. Okay. Then when we get to May, June, then I start adding some sort of electrolyte liquid into that, like an emergency. My other favorite one is Body Armor is my new favorite one. But a lot of our athletes, our recreational players, they sometimes think, okay, well, I played some doubles.
Right.
I should have a Gatorade.
Right.
No. So I think it's on us as coaches to help educate them. And now with water nowadays, there's always to flavor. My favorite water, I just drink it nonstop, is the Hint flavored waters, if you're familiar with that. There's lots of great stuff out there. So it's not that electrolytes are bad. We need electrolytes. Also, as tennis coaches, we are sweating so profusely, especially those of us that live in the South. And as long as you don't have any medical issues, add more salt to your food. I consume a lot of salt because it just leaves my body.
Right. Well, all right. So the next one then, and I struggled with this a little bit early on, is it cardio versus weights? I mean, we're talking cardio tennis, but which is better or which is good?
Okay. So if I'm picking weights.
Okay.
Which, surprise, the cardio girl says weights. Again, both, okay? Right. You need both, okay? Because cardio is going to elevate the heart rate more consistently. Not that your heart rate doesn't get elevated in lifting weights, but we need to keep our bodies strong and injury-free. And unfortunately, we are not getting younger every day. And so as the body goes through the aging process, it's actually really important that we maintain strength training. That's what helps to keep you young. And the cardio is that's just not going to help us through the aging process. Also, when we're doing strength training, we are increasing muscle mass, therefore we're increasing our metabolism. So now, because we have more muscle mass, our metabolism is working better throughout the day for longer periods of time, not just when you do the actual workout.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And so if we kind of shift over to like maybe the basis to what we started talking about with this presentation, tennis coaches in their diet versus exercise, diet being, we both agree, kind of that bad word that people like to throw around sometimes.
Yeah.
Where are we going with that?
Yeah. So on that one, and Bill, in our notes, I had picked one or the other, but in this one, I have them both picked because you need both, because all the exercise in the world will not erase a poor diet. And if you exercise more, you can actually eat more food.
Right.
Because I'm all about, I want to eat food, and I want to eat good food. And again, I'll go back to that 80-20 rule. I mean, I eat chocolate every single day. Okay. I have the ability though to stick my spoon in a gallon of ice cream, and then eat only one spoonful. So, everybody has different levels of, yeah. But yeah, and it's dark chocolate. So yes, you need to have some modifications in your diet. And then we need to do, of course, some level of exercise each week. And in that exercise, we should include some cardio, some strength training. We want to make sure we're elevating the heart rate, okay? And that we also have active recovery. Okay, recovery is just as important, maybe more so than all of that stuff. And again, I know as coaches, it's really hard for us to get that recovery time because we all work really, really hard, and our jobs are very physically and mentally demanding. So, I know it's very tough for us, but we do know that little changes can make a big difference.
Yeah, and what's funny is you just touched on something that is important and leads us into the next little bit, is that we do have, as tennis coaches, demanding jobs physically and mentally. We're not sitting behind a desk for the most part. We're out on the court. There's either court maintenance or teaching or whatever we may be doing, and even sometimes stringing if you got to get one done real quick. You're busy, and the amount of time you have to go and work out afterwards or before can fluctuate. So actual time to be active and working out versus your perceived time that maybe I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, and Bill, I think has been living this. I think there is this perception that we do have to spend a considerable amount of time working out, and maybe that's just our human nature, whatnot. But really, doing something for 10 minutes or 20 minutes at a time, when it's done consistently, can actually build up and have a very good impact. So, in our case, as coaches, we don't have a lot of time, but maybe in between a couple lessons, we've got that 10 minutes or 15 minutes where we could, do something simple like, get on the TRX, the suspension trainer, or core first trainer, which we're going to talk a little bit about later. And those things can be right in your racket bag, and you can attach it right to the fence. And we all have different times of day that we like to work out. Bill and I know each other's workouts, and I'm an early morning workout person, and Bill is a middle of the day workout person, right?
Yeah. I just could not.
And Bill,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just couldn't get up early in the morning. I used to think that's what you had to do if you wanted to be a fit individual, is you had to get up at 5 and go for a run and work out, and I couldn't do it. So.
But lunch works really good for you, right?
It does. I'm able to get up and do some work or go teach or whatever, and then middle of the day when it is a little bit slower, get away and be able to go knock out my workout. So yeah, I think, when you talk about time and perceived time and scheduling, it's you got to find what works for you.
Exactly. And then you also have to find something that you enjoy, which we'll talk a little bit about later. So Bill, do we want to move on to number 2 and then come back to your fitness journey later on?
Yeah, I think that works. We're kind of going down this path, and one of the things that we talked about, tennis is such an incredible sport because of the fitness, but there are probably a couple of things that some tennis coaches don't understand, and I wanted you to talk a little bit about the 3 planes of motion and how that relates to fitness and coaches.
Oh, now we're getting
scientific here. We're ready to go here.
We did. Okay. So that's gonna kind of fall under this category, what makes tennis such an incredible fitness option. And for those of you who know me, you always know I'm running around the world spouting those words. And one of the big reasons is because when we do tennis, we are moving in 3 planes of motion. And pretty much all traditional sports, you're moving in all 3 planes of motion. Right. But if you're not familiar with what that is transverse, sagittal, and frontal. And so that is extension, flexion, it's abduction, adduction. So, side to side movement, rotational, that sort of thing. So we have so many strokes in tennis, and it's full, we use every single muscle in our body. So that is one of the many reasons why tennis is such a great fitness option, and why we have the ability to burn so many calories. Now, again, I'm kind of comparing this to other fitness activities. Fitness activities meaning maybe you're in a spin class, maybe you're in a rowing class, maybe you're on the treadmill. Those are your standard typical cardio type kind of endeavors, and your body does not move in all 3 planes of motion.
Right.
So hopefully I gave a bit of an okay explanation there.
Right. And you talked a little bit about the mind and body connection.
Right.
Where do we go there?
Yeah. So our sport that we love, wow, the decisions that the brain has to make in such an incredibly small amount of time. I've talked with Dr. Kovacs about this, and I don't think we have the data on like what the number is, like how many decisions our brain is making, but we are tracking an incoming ball coming at all rates of speed, spin, and height. We have to have the hand-eye coordination to connect that racket with the ball, make a decision as to how close or far away we need to the ball, where we want to send the ball. And that is all happening in, I don't know, nanoseconds, if there is such a thing. So there is this great mind-body connection. If I'm on a spin bike, all I really have to worry about is not falling off that bike. Right?
For some of us, is a chore, actually.
Okay, so
just saying.
So right. So the mind and the body don't have to talk to one another as much as they do in the sport of tennis, whether it's tennis singles, doubles, or cardio tennis. So when those things are happening and all the synapses are going off, time actually goes by really quick because you don't have a whole lot of other things to think about. So hopefully that makes a little more sense, the mind-body connection.
Well, we just, and that helps tremendously, but we just come through a worldwide pandemic where, being close to people is not cool anymore, but tennis is being that socially distant sport. Let's talk about, fitness as it relates to outdoors and physical distancing.
Yeah, so I think we're all very aware how great our sport is for physical distancing, and we do get to be outdoors in most cases. So the time is really right for us for tennis, and we've had this lovely increase in participation over the year. And my concern is that not only do we continue on an upward tick, but that we retain these players and that we continue to attract more when we get back to whatever our new sense of normal is. And these people don't decide to leave tennis to go back to something else that they maybe did. So we have to be the salespeople out there of why our sport is so great. So not only do we have to sell it, but we also have to deliver it.
Right.
And we need to deliver it in a really fun and engaging, active mind-body connection type of way. And of course, that's where cardio tennis programming comes into play.
So you've known me for a long time. You know I like to go off script. So
Yep.
here's one for you though. We've got this influx of new players, socially distant. How do we and can we retain these players by adding more fitness components to our tennis and integrating those components?
Right. So I think, Bill, that this goes back to, again, my question at the beginning is, who is doing some sort of cardio tennis? Because as much as we all love traditional tennis, it's not going to cut it. Okay. It's not going to cut it from a long-term attraction and retention, because the world has changed. People have been changing for years. Okay. I can go back to 2005 when cardio tennis was started. And why was it started? Because fitness activities were kicking the butt of traditional sports.
Right.
Okay. And that's what the data showed. Well, fast forward to 2021, maybe 2020, because 2021, that may have flipped a little bit. All right. But, go back to 2019, really, there hasn't been much of a change there. So we're at a crossroads. We need a paradigm shift. We've got to continue getting better and make our product more exciting with more offerings, and also understand that, and again, this comes from us. There are options in this sport. Okay. The end goal with tennis does not have to be league tennis. And that is no disrespect to league tennis whatsoever. Okay. Yeah. League tennis is great. And we need that in our sport as well. But we position it, it's like the end all be all. I've heard of coaches where the person comes to a lesson, it's their first time ever, and they're like, okay, well, now you can go play league. Okay, well, no. Okay, I mean, on a number of different reasons. So again, how we have to shift. We have to be more current with our times. And we do have a very traditional sport, but we have ways that make it very hip and cool. Right. So Bill was saying, what other fitness components? Well, number one, we have to understand that, again, tennis itself delivered in the correct way is the greatest fitness. I mean, that's fitness all by itself. Okay. Without adding, any other tools in the toolbox. Right. But to be cool and sexy, something like the TRX suspension trainer. There is a device called Core First Trainer, which is newer, and a lot of people don't know about it. But what I like about the Core First Trainer is that it's really easy to anchor. Like, you can anchor to anything, where a TRX is a little bit harder to anchor. And then of course there's also the Rip Trainer, which that's like a lot of rotational power. That's a TRX product, and that can also be anchored anywhere. So it's very easy to incorporate those things on your court into the class. I mean, and they're lightweight, they're easy to move, that sort of thing. I will give you an example. This last weekend, I was in Pennsylvania and I was doing a Hit to Be Fit weekend, and it was incredibly successful. It was just energizing. It was empowering. It was full of love. And we did do cardio tennis with TRX. Right. And again, I've got, which I'm going to go to that photo because I think there's that photo of it. So you might not be able to see the whole thing, but on the very left, there's the agility ladder. There were 16 people on this court working out. Okay, 8 on the court, 8 on the suspension trainers. I had one athlete, she came to me at the start of the weekend and she said, Michele, her name was Connie. She goes, and she looked fabulous for her age. The woman is 85 years old. She looked about 65, and she said, I'm a little nervous. Can I do these sorts of things? And I said, yes, of course you can. She did, out of our 4 events, she did 3, and she did the cardio tennis with the TRX. This is somebody who's 85 years old. I mean, what other sport can do that? What other sport can you have all these people on the same court together,
Right.
empowering each other?
Well, and I saw that photo from when you were up there, and it looked amazing. Some of the other photos as well, and that leads into the next thing. We've only got about 10 minutes left, so
Right.
It leads into the other component here, and the photo shows it. And I've experienced it in my own kind of fitness journey, the social aspect of fitness, that it doesn't have to be you in a gym just lifting weights in the corner.
Right, because most people in a gym, I mean, there are various levels of social. Now, I will say, if you go to many like boutique fitness studios, it might be yoga, might be spinning, could be Pilates, whatever. It's all great. It's all good stuff. But within the class, there's very little social engagement. Okay, you might talk to people before, you might talk to people after. When we're doing tennis and any form of cardio tennis program, well, we have to talk to people because we're in partner or in many partner scenarios, team scenarios, competitions.
Right.
So the social aspect, and you're making friends. And that's why I want people of all ability and fitness levels to be on the court together, because when you separate abilities, you are keeping people from forming friendships. Okay, and now people that play maybe at the 2.530 level are now maybe going to be friends with 4.0s to 4.5s. And that would never happen in league tennis. And if I am an owner, manager, director, whatever, I need members and I need club memberships. And the more friends that somebody has at the club, the more likely that they are going to stay at my facility and pay those monthly dues.
Right. Well,
so can I tell you, Bill, about, because we're talking social, I want to tell you about another event I just did a couple weekends ago here in Sarasota.
Yeah.
And it was one of our triples events. And I do have to say, this was pretty cool. And I can't take credit for it because I didn't do all the planning and whatnot, but really fun club, very social club. We had a live band. Okay, a live band. There's a restaurant right there. So the restaurant is right by the court. The band was right by the court. We did a triples pro exhibition. There were probably 150 people there.
Wow.
And we did a very quick triples pro exhibition, and then we let the athletes play. The athletes started playing like at 7 p.m. I left at 9 p.m. I found out the next day from one of my clients that they play triples until 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, wow.
Okay, 7 p.m. till 11 p.m. Okay, triples. Every club in this country should be playing triples. My clients are trained so well that they go out and play triples on their own.
Yeah. Well, I mean, back in the old days, we used to have some triples tournaments. So maybe we can bring those back. Those were fantastic.
Yeah, I've moved away from, see, I don't really like the word tournament. Do you know why? Because now it becomes too competitive.
Okay.
Right. So I like triples events. Okay. And over the years, how I have massaged that triples event, it has just become even more inclusive. Okay. Right. And still competitive without the I have to win or lose scenario. So I like to say triples events. Okay. And then we also have what's called the games competition. And I call it a competition. Again, not a tournament. So a competition is a little bit, a little bit higher, a little bit, and you might give out a prize.
Right.
But, really, this is things that coaches don't realize. People don't always care about keeping score. Okay. A lot of times they don't want to. Okay. They don't want to think about it, right? They just want to have fun and whack a ball and meet people.
Well, and actually, we're kind of getting close on time, but we did get a quick question to come in.
Okay.
It was, let's see, Tammy is a new coach. What's the format of triples and how is it played? And honestly, Tammy, we might get Michele to send that out to everybody. I think that'd be great.
Yeah. So what I will do is I will get that into the right hands. I have a great document on that. It tells you everything about it, and we'll get that out to the attendees.
Yeah. And if anybody else has some questions, like I said, we're getting kind of close on time. We want to be mindful of the next presenter coming on. If you have any questions, put those in the Q&A or the chat box there. We can try to get to as many of those as we can. Michele, as we discussed, we have a lot on our page to cover, which we didn't get all the way through, but maybe that means they'll have us back another time.
Well, yeah, and that's great. And again, I think, we as coaches, we want to try to stay as healthy as we can for as long as we can. We need to lead by example.
Right.
Are we taking care of ourselves? And taking care of ourselves is also, for decades and decades, the one thing that has kept me on the court for decades and decades, injury-free, has been active release technique. Okay, so if you know our good friend, Dr. Sean Drake, he is an active release technique doctor. If you've never had it done before, I suggest that you just go to the activereleasetechnique.com website. It will tell you who does it in your specific area. I have been doing it for probably 27 years. And again, I will attribute that as a main factor in keeping me injury-free. We wait too long to address our pain and our aches. Right. And the sooner you can get on it, the better it's going to be. The more you train, again, you're going to recover quickly. I did a partial tear on my MCL at the start of the pandemic, falling off my paddleboard. Okay, yeah, really? Like I fell off my paddleboard? Are you kidding me? Like, how did that happen? Okay. Right. And I probably recovered in about 3.5 weeks. Why? Because I was so strong, because right. I train all the time. And how did I come back? I came back with the red, orange, and green balls. Okay, we haven't even talked about the balls. That's a whole nother presentation. But let's ask Pat if we have any comments about people's cardio tennis programming and if it's healthy and what they need for support. Pat, do you have any? Do we have anything in the chat box that you could share?
John Bobby asked about signing up for cardio tennis. He's down in Alabama, so I'm sure that they can register to become a cardio tennis provider and site. That I'm sure that's going to be touched on and coming out soon.
Let's John, let's just stay tuned on that. Okay. Right now, I think there's a lot of, I know for me personally, there's a lot of questions and I don't know the answers yet, but my intent is to hit the ground running. And for those of you who know me, I'll be reaching out to you.
Well, we got about 2 to 3 minutes left. Dan Beadle says Michele is the best, which we all know that.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Dan.
And so any other questions that kind of pop through, or Michele, do you have anything you want to kind of wrap up with? Or
I just want to say that, Bill, thanks for helping me out here. And again, I very much want all of you as my fellow coaches and my friends to be as healthy and fit as possible. And I'm always available if you want to run something by me or if you have a question, because I want all of us on the court as long as we can, having fun and making an impact in the industry.
Well, fitness is a journey, wouldn't you say, Michele?
Oh, yes. It's a lifelong journey. And like I always like to say, I personally train for life. Okay, that's what I train for. You can train for a marathon, you can train for this, but you know what I train for? I train for life, okay? Because when I'm 70 plus years old, I still want to be slalom skiing. I still want to have a 30-inch box jump. I mean, the list goes on and on. So right. We're training for life.
There you go. There was another question that came through. Grants available for cardio. Let's see. I'm sure there's going to be some things. I think we have to give Michele. Remember, everyone, the announcement went out tonight that Michele's back leading cardio tennis. So let's give her
tomorrow. You guys are the first to know.
Right.
Okay.
So let's give her at least 2 hours.
Give me at least 24 hours. So, Bill, the question I think you said was about a grant. So I guess my question back to that is, what are
equipment?
Right, but what are your needs? Oh, right. Okay. So equipment needs, and I'll be very clear here. I mean, what you really need equipment wise, okay, is red and orange balls, an agility ladder, and some throwdown spots. That's your equipment and music. And the music is a big part, having the right music. And I think I'll have a solution for everybody with going forward with that. But yeah, so equipment, I will take note of that. And Pat says that we need to wrap it up. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
And have a good evening.